Hi everybody, welcome back to Layers with Larry. It's a little bit of a change today. There's a special temporary exhibit here at the Center of the West, very close to the Draper Museum. If you haven't seen it yet, I'd encourage you to come down. It's only going to be here for, I don't know, maybe another month or so. And the reason I'm here with you today is because the exhibit ties together a lot of interesting natural history aspects of this part of the world. So Tony Foster is a British artist, and one neat thing about his art is he incorporates some of the, not just the scenery of the geology, but in some of the paintings you'll notice there even has a little fossil fish at the bottom, or a little tube that contains some sand or some mud that came from the place where he's done the art. That's pretty cool, I think. There's a formation there called the Green River Formation. Now here in the Cody area, in the Bighorn Basin, we don't have the Green River Formation, which is fossil lakes that formed in between mountain basins in mountains. There were three big lakes, and they were really, really rich in life, especially in fish, and they're well preserved down at the bottom of these deep lakes where there was no oxygen for the dead fish to decompose. And all the organic remains ended up in that shale too. Now we don't, again, find those fossils here in the Cody area, but we do have rocks of that same age, and they're parts of the what's called the Willwood Formation. They're the youngest rocks. Going back to my Layers with Larry sequence that you've seen before, we're way up towards the top in the Eocene period, about 50 million years ago. So let's take a look at some of the fossils in the cases over here that you're welcome to come and see while they're still here, and I hope you enjoy them. So in these cases in the middle of the room, you find some of the tools of the trade of the artist, which are pretty cool, and some of the fossil fish that he has included. But over here, there are some beautiful museum quality specimens of, well, two very spectacular fish that are found in the Green River Formation. Again, we're talking about 50 million years ago. Volcanoes erupting all around the area, and much of that volcanic ash settling onto these lakes and settling at the bottom and entombing and protecting and preserving any life that had died and fallen to the bottom of the lakes, including this beautiful fish. And you can see, as you'd expect, the parts of the fish that are preserved are the hard parts, that is the bones. But then you may wonder, well, what's all that brown stuff around there? Well, that's bone too. They're scales. Fish scales are bone, and so they've kind of got like an armor plate around them, at least bony fishes do. And that particular fish is cool because he's a 50 million year old ancestor of modern trout. So if those of you who like to come into Wyoming and the Bighorn Basin to fish for trout like I do, will appreciate that. That's Myoplosis, the trout relative. And if you look very carefully just above the back of his tail there's kind of a cylindrical object there. Give you a moment to think about what that might be, and then I'll tell you. And you're right if you said it's poop. Yeah, that's a coprolite. So the remnants of their diet were preserved. So you could even determine what they ate, just like we talk about dinosaurs and other creatures that leave behind coprolites. These two up here are kind of cool, not just because they're a double, which is beautiful, but they're two extremely well-preserved fossils of the fish called Knightia, and named for a guy whose last name was Knight. And what's special about them is they are the Wyoming state fossil, and very nicely preserved.